Alright then, so let's start our base mesh, a generic one, with just some nice face features by already thinking on the topology that we're gonna have with zero mesh. So we can start by using a polysphere. We choose a sphere and then make a polymesh 3D, and then with move brush, from the side view I'm gonna grab a nice portion of mass and also make it slimmer, like this. Look that in this view I'm trying to make this kind of information. I just grab some info for the jaws, right? And from the front view I'm looking for an oval shape, right? Just as this one for the head, for just for the instant, right? Oops, go back there, and then we can start by just in the middle, not actually the middle, but in this part here, you know, we could do that, those lines for guiding us, you know, like the thirds. We can separate this height in thirds. Of the same distance, barely the same, not exactly, but, and also if you want to have like a mark, you can make a line in the middle, okay? And then from here we're gonna start to bring in some features for the face. Here we can have, using the clay build-up brush, we can have kind of a hole for the eyes, and in this third here we can grab, we can make with the clay build-up brush some nose information. Then here with move brush I can grab it a little bit more, right? And here in this region I'm gonna give some information for the zygomatic bone, and here between the eyes, upper on this hole I'm gonna leave some volume for the initial of the forehead, and also, you know, those superciliary arches. But I won't talk too much about this right now. Let's just have some kind of nice generic base. Here in this region I could also have some volume for the mouth, and on the bottom a volume for the chin. By looking on the side view we can make a line just in the middle with no matter exactly which brush that are doing those markers, but from the middle to the front we're gonna make, by starting on the last third, we're gonna have some L shape just for making the jawline, right? And into this third that we said, we can have, like here behind this line over there, we can make a mask, invert this mask, and grab some ears information. You can correct this shape with move brush and trying to make kind of this shell looking, okay? And all of this region here is with too much volume, right? But how can we correct this? First, from this side view, we're gonna have a nice cut by going to from this part to the sides. Okay, so we're gonna make with a big size for the dam standard brush. We can click over there and make very soft a mark on the face, just like this, right? And then into the side view also we're gonna cross like a C into this line, this region. Okay, look like this, just to make some marking for the temporal line. From here I can grab it a little bit more, this region. I can grab it more for the front also, this region. And then here I can try to make, you know, with move brush more squared view, not that shape too round, just a little bit more squared. And then we're gonna have this blockout for the initial head. Okay, if we hit the letter D, look, let me disable the non-lock so it won't be a distraction for you here. So once I click D, I'm gonna activate my dynamic subdivision, which is always here. It's the same that I'm click, or if I press D. Okay, to disable this I can press Shift D, and then I go back to my normal mesh, right? And from this, so just reviewing, let's have a look what we did. We had started by a sphere. We grabbed some information for the jaw, and then we made 3 cuts in this shape. It doesn't need to be really precise on those markers. We just have to make sure that those features that we are putting there will be like on these thirds. So the nose will be here. Look how are those concave holes for the eyes, and how diagonal are the shape of the cheeks, right? The zygomatic bone, then that region for the forehead, the mouth, once again the chin, the jawline, making an L shape right after the median line for the side view. And then we can have also the shape for the ears. Okay, remember that always do this shape after the median line. Median line that I'm saying is this size, you know, like this size will be the same distance, and not need to be so precise of what I'm doing right now, because it's just blocking out the information, the features of the face based on the anatomy, right? So once we grab the ears from that mask, we can try to make this shell shape, this, you know, just like a C shape, And then by looking from the front, we have those volumes on the side that are quite weird yet, and we have to correct this. How we can correct? By making a crisp cut from this distance, which would be this region here, and it's the place that we put your eyeglasses. You can put like here, and from this region you can grab a line to the medium part of the jaw. Okay, so this will create some nice angle that will be exactly the angle for the zygomatic bone that we have. All right. Then from here I also made a C shape for the temporal line. Look how I did this C shape. I did right in the middle of this line of the thirds. This would be the region for the temporal line. Okay. Then I started to change a little bit some volumes for the forehead, because the forehead was too much inclined here, and I tried to make it more vertical a little bit just by following this silhouette that we have here. And then right after I tried to make more squared shape, not that round, and try to approximate on a human face, not still our character, not looking for Anthony Hopkins, just trying to look on a generic model. And look how the features are still there inside those thirds that we draw. Then we have this like a third. Look, the size once again of the concave, the concave hole for the eyes, not exactly the eyes, but the orbit on the skull shape. Here we have the zygomatic bone, and here we're gonna have the nose, right? Look how the nose, the ears, and everything goes inside this third. Okay, and on this other part we're gonna have like the cheek, not the cheek, the chin, and then the mouth is gonna be here. We can easily separate this once again by thirds. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, right? And then into the first third will be the mouth, to the second third will be the beginning of the chin, and then the bottom of the head. Okay, remember to make the jawline like an L shape, but with a little bit inclined. An L would be like this, then you go and incline just a little bit the two shapes here, right? So you can always remember like the watch. It would be like 5 to 4 maybe. Five to 4 o'clock, you know, because here is 12, 6, 3, 9, 4, and 5. So 5 minutes to 4. Okay, it would be almost this kind of right angle for the side, and yeah, select everything here, and from here you can start to make the nose. And I think from here we can also start to dynamesh this. We could even dynamesh it before, but I decided to dynamesh it right now. Look how we still are with the smooth preview for the dynamic subdiv, and from here I can subdivide it maybe 1 or 2 times, and from this, right, I can go and also grab some neck. But before we do it, let me flatten this region a little bit with clay buildup, and from here I could also make, like, remove some volume into this third. Just like this. Alright. Look, I'm still using that same, let me do if I can make, no, a line. Yeah, that same third, that will be the beginning of the forehead, and this line here will be the base of nose, the base of zygomatic bone, the base of ear, and also the base of the back of head. Alright, and from here we're gonna grab a region like this, and just like this. Okay, for the neck. Think on the neck just as a cylinder. So a line, red, white. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna have to change my marker here in the recorder. So you can go over the dynamesh. I like to lower a little bit the resolution before, and then I can raising up as I want. Maybe not that dense. Yeah, you should be able to smooth the form easily. Yeah, a density like this will be enough, at least for this time. And then here I can grab the neck. Look how I'm gonna grab the neck from almost the middle part of this line, from here and from this region there. Okay, so I masked a circular portion of the shape. I can invert my mask. I inverted by using a shortcut that I created, but you can go and go over here in masking and click on invert selection, right? Then with the transpose, I can move my transpose line to unmasked center, like here. It was over there, right? and then I have a shortcut that makes my transpose line go over the unmasked center. It's just a shortcut for this button, Ctrl A in my case, right over there, and then from this I can grab a nice neck, alright, and recalculate my Dynamesh. Once again, think on the neck as a cylinder in all the views, and also an inclined cylinder. Okay, so remember to have in the neck this kind of angle, and once again the medium part of this line for the jaw, and then the back of head over there, right? And from here we're gonna also create some shoulders volume. All right, in order to make these shoulder volumes, we can draw something like this, some masked, and invert this mask and grab it to the sides. You can grab like this, and with Alt key pressed we can grab the transpose gizmo for the bottom, and then use the scale to make it lower like this. Okay, we can grab this front region, invert the mask and grab it more to the front view, and then recalculate our Dynamesh. Okay, here we can start to define a little bit more this region for the ears. And look, as I'm using the dim standard brush just around this shape, just to make a nice flow, a nice separation from this region, from the head. All right, so from this I'm gonna start to add a nasolabial fold here, and here we're gonna have the mouth. All right, so let's make the nose first, and into this region over here we're gonna have to make a volume for the nasolabial fold. And from the end of the nose here, the nasal wings, we're gonna have another cut that will be the nasolabial fold. And then for this region here, we're gonna have the mouth. You can smooth this region just as I did. You can mask, invert your mask and smooth this, right? If it destroyed a little bit your wrinkle, you can go with the dim standard brush again and remake this wrinkle once again. Right, notice how I grabbed already some wings for the nose, and here what I'm going to do is to create the mouth, the open mouth that we said. I'm gonna mask it like this, invert my mask, and grab it to the inside part. How can we do this? We can do it by using the move brush and invert here the mask, right? I undo to show you. So here we can use the move brush, and with move brush, by using the alt key pressed, we can click and push the faces to the normals, to the face normals of the character. And with move brush we can open a little bit more over there, right? And then recalculate the dynamesh once again. It's kind of a terrible looking, but we're starting to have something. From here I can define a little bit more the chin by using this diagonal here, right? With my inflate brush I can inflate a little bit. Oh wait, I can inflate a little bit the lips region, and then recalculate the dynamesh. I can remove some parts. I can remove this region, a little bit of this volume, not remove, but oops, wait, I can smooth a little bit this volume, right? So smooth it. All right. And here in the nose we can start to make this concave hole. I mask it, and with even move brush, or I don't care, clay build-up. Here we have not a good density, so we can raise up this value a little bit and recalculate a better dynamesh right now. Recalculate once again. All right. This region I'm gonna raise a little bit the volume there, and bring a little bit this region here. Look how terrible is the base. Alright, bringing some information for the shoulders. And then for the neck, one thing that you have to take care about your neck is to have kind of the same distance of the jaw. You know, like here the jaw, we could make more an equal distance for the jawline and the neck. This for a generic head, right? I'm gonna try to make more space into this region because it's too close to calculate some nice flow. And here one thing that you could do is to, over this region, make kind of like this flowing. Okay, here I'm using the dim standard brush with Alt key pressed, so I can make kind of a border for this shape of the mouth and trying to make it more squared. Okay, very creepy. And now we have to do the eyelids. All right, look how the zygomatic bone will be over there. Always look from other angles. And this is what we have right now. Let's recalculate the Dynamesh once again. And here to make, let's make a better nose over here. Here you can have the eyelids for the eyes. And in order to do this, we can go over another subtool. We can append on a sphere, and then this with this sphere we're gonna make those eyelids. All right, so I could even prepare in another tool there. So let me this sphere over here. And here I can duplicate into this new subtool, right? This new tool. Here I have the base, and here we're gonna have the eyelids. The eyelids are gonna make this like this, you know. But in order to do this, let me show you the process. You're gonna have this sphere shape, and then you duplicate this sphere. You can go here and activate your transparent mode, and then by pressing the R button, not the R, the E button, you're gonna choose the scale, and then you're gonna scale a little bit down the second sphere, just until you have some nice distance from the two spheres, just like this. All right, remember that I turned on the transparent mode over there, and now I can transform this into a Dynamesh. And then once I calculated the Dynamesh like this, look, if you are able to draw a nice mask. To do a mask, you're gonna have to press the solo button. Here you can see that all the time I turn on and off my solo mode. To do this, you can press, in my case I set a hotkey for this, which is Alt S, and look how we need to go over the solo mode to paint some mask. So I'm kind of creating at first a losango with symmetrical shape, and this will be the shape for the eyelids. All right, I'm still using the symmetry into this this time. And from this, disable the solo mode, invert your mask, and from side view, place your gizmo into the unmasked center. You can go and with the alt click, click here into this icon, or even go to that button, click here. Let me undo. You go and click here. And also another way is to position by hand, right? So once we have this into this empty space there, the mask that we have made, we can grab it to the outside portion and make it bigger. But notice how the polygons are too much stretched and not with very good silhouette. So we can go back, invert selection, and hit Ctrl W. Once we hit Ctrl W, we're gonna make a polygroup on the region that we have masked, right? And look how the polygons are very very visible in the silhouette. So in order to make a silhouette more with an uniform shape, more rounder one, we can go into the geometry palette here, go into the edge loop, and go over this button here, the group loops, right? We can do this way, or if I undo, we can also go into the deformation palette and hit a polish by groups. It's easier, I think, right? So you hit polish by groups and control click into the polygroup, and then you can bring it once again. It will have those stretched lines, so go back, and then you can grab by pressing the control key. Once you press the control key, you're gonna extrude this form to the outside. Look, you have to be in Dynamesh with no subdivision levels. Once if you have some subdivision, you won't be able to do this extrude process. All right, so grab it to the outside just until it goes outside the first sphere, and then you can open a little bit more this shape, still with the masked set. All right, so from here we can disable just to check, and we can start to make a boolean mesh. For this boolean mesh, as we have this one which will cut, you know, the other form, we can select this icon here. So this will cut and this will be cut. So now we can activate our live boolean mesh and turn off our transparent mode. This way you're gonna look the boolean happening. All right, and with this mesh, pay attention to the orders. If you have the mesh that will cut upside there, sometimes it won't work properly, so you have to cut have the mesh that will cut behind. All right, this way you can go and make a boolean. You go and click here into boolean and make boolean mesh. Nothing happens. Yeah, it happened. It created another mesh with as the result that we have here, named umesh from union. All right, so we have this mesh. We can copy and paste into the other mesh that we created there. Paste. So we can position it. Scale. Turn on the transparent mode. Scale down. position it. Turn off transparent mode. And here, note the region that I'm leaving this form. And position it right here. Before we merge the two forms, let me correct the shape a little bit of this concave. I'm using the standard brush normal. And maybe with some clay build-up brush. All right. Oh, sorry. So we can mirror this mesh that we have, the spheres with that shape, and then we can go into geometry, modify topology, and mirror and weld. So we're gonna mirror, we're gonna make a symmetry. So now we have both sides like this. Okay. Try to have like almost one size of the eyes between you know, the actual distance between the eyes. So here I have more than this, so I can scale up a little bit more and make it closer, just like this. Don't need to be precise. Look from the side view, the eyes won't cross this line from the beginning of forehead and the zygomatic bone. Okay, it won't cross this line. No, it's gonna stay on this region here. Okay. And then right now we can merge these two objects there. Oh damn, all the time this is making, yeah. Now once we have made, we have merged the parts, we can recalculate our Dynamesh. Click and drag, and it's gonna recalculate like this. Maybe with a higher resolution. Yeah, this is better, right? Look how we don't even need a very detailed model here, but I could carve with my standard brush a little bit the inside part. And also smooth the inside part a little bit. Just make some realistic, more realistic inside. But remember to have some nice thickness on the lips, right? And here, take care to have some nice distance. It's very creepy, this kind of mouth, but it's just for calculating our base mesh. Here I could have more space between these nostrils, and here a thickness, a thicker part for the nostril itself. Here with them standard, I'm gonna force a little bit more this nostril drawing. Okay. Here you could make kind of C shape for the ears, just for the moment. And there it is. Okay. From this we're gonna start to draw some lines, and let's see if we're gonna have some nice topology. But before, let's erase some of those lines with smooth brush, because this was just some marks to follow, but not necessarily. Here with move brush I could make it a little bit larger, this line. Okay. Very weird. Okay, from this let's start to make some zero mesh line guides. Okay, then here we have the model, and let's first try to make a zero mesh version of this generic features. Look, here I'm truly not concerned too much about the realism or even the right anatomical structure for everything. The only things that I'm looking for are this circularity on the eyes, on the mouth itself, and these marks on the nasal labial fold. And further we can discuss more some anatomical structures on this, but for the instant, just to make a pretty functional base mesh we can do this way, you know. So this is even not any close to a realistic base, but we have the features itself. So we have the structure for the zygomatic bone. The zygomatic bone, just as I'm used to say in some other course, is this region, you know, the zygomatic bone, this one in blue, and here in blue into this other view right there. So this is responsible for the cheek volume of the face, right? Just in order to you guys know when I'm talking about the zygomatic, so is this the structures on this structure on the skull, right? And notice how do we have here this kind of angle, right? So this angle just in the middle of this distance here of the jawline, the inclined angle for the jaw, and the rule of thirds, like the base of this the base of nose, the base of zygomatic, and the base of the top of head, the back of head, right? And then here another the line of eyebrows, right? And here we're gonna have like the hairline, and then the last third that will be the base of head, right? So here I'm just reviewing some anatomical structures and some rules that I'm used to say in other anatomical course, but later on we can review some other features on anatomy. But our intention right now is just to have some good topology flow for the base mesh, and this way we can go further on our character, right? So here, as I was saying, it looks so ugly, right, but I really don't care too much. Just concerned to have this like kind of this thickness on the lips, on this thing that is supposed to be the lips on the future. We have some holes here for the nostrils, and we have this kind of this flow for for the nasolabial fold, and the circularity for the eyes, and also this thickness for the eyelids. Okay, because once we hit zero measure into this file, let's see what I have here. I'm gonna duplicate it just to show you guys what would be the zero measure here. The zero measure, without changing anything, we can click zero measure and check what it looks like in the topology. And this is a way of building up a pretty good base mesh in ZBrush, similar to a method that very famous teacher and Brazilian teacher tell us how to say. It's Rafa Souza. You can always check his work. It's awesome. It's pretty master here in Brazil and whatever, and all around the world, I think. But I think the classes are just in Portuguese. I'm not really sure, but you can go and check his work. It's Rafa Souza. Let me write it for you. Rafa Souza, right? So also take a look of his work. He also brings some really good information on how to make a likeness project and everything, and I found it very useful this way for starting a good base mesh with zero measure. Like if you don't have a normal base mesh with good topology flowing, so you can always go and create your own base mesh just by using some techniques like this. But look here, I just hit the zero mesh button, and we kind of have good topology for the instant, because we can have the circularity for the mouth. We have some the holes for the nostrils, the nose. We have a nice topology for the nasolabial fold here, right? And we have some nice circularity for the eyes itself. So I don't even need to change it too much. We have a pretty okay topology for the rest of face. It's all regular density, but in order to use those zero measure guidelines, you can also do this for zero mesh. And let me show you something, the way that we could do. But for me, as I have already this, okay, here we have not a circularity, but yeah, it would be maybe sometimes a little bit boring to select some of the edges there. So let's have a try into this Dynamesh version once again. I'm gonna duplicate it to make like a copy, so we can compare it further later on. So you go over the brush palette and you choose ZR, the zero measure guide. So give it like a small brush draw size, and then you're gonna be able to make some curves. over there. So try to make a circular curve that the zero measure will try to follow these guides. Alright, one for the eyelids, two for the orbit of those eyelids. Notice the placement that I left my. I don't know why he didn't copy to the other side as well, this other curve here, but that's okay. And so one for the eyelids, one for the circularity on the eyelids, then another one that I will create kind of a mask into this region. Okay, one I'll bring around this nose to the nose to here, another one going to this, nasal labial fold, and another one around the mouth. Sometimes it works better, sometimes it not. So let's have a try. Let's hit our zero measure. I just paused it there so you guys don't need to wait that loading time. And yeah, that's pretty good. Just maybe these eyelids are not so well, because I would like more like this kind of shape. Let's compare the flow of the edges. This one, I believe we have a better flow for the nasal labial fold. Even the eyes are not pretty good. This one would be even better, but that's okay. The importance of having kind of a good topology flow in this face for the eyelids is already good, because once we have a dynamesh like this, once you try to smooth, you're gonna tends to create some, you know, if you hit a standard brush, sometimes it's being harder to smooth it, like smooth surface. When you have kind of this flowing, it's better to manage the topology and the volume, you know. Maybe those polygons here will be a little bit harder for us, but not. I think it won't have too many problems for us. But we have this nice circularity from the stage, so from this we can, you know, select by using a mask like this, invert the mask and bring more that eye bag on that part. Maybe it would be better if we don't have this kind of info here. Let's try if we could go back and remake that curve line. ZR, and if you want to correct some curve, you can use your Alt key and erase that curve. Alright, so let's try once again. I will try to make not really closing the edges. You can also activate your lazy mouse, will be easier. Don't breathe and trace. Good. So let's try it once again. Zero measure. You could try to make this topology flow in a less target, a smaller target polygon count, but in this case it's not so necessary. Let's see. Yeah, that's okay if you want to bring some mess over there to make that eyelid portion, you know, bring it to the front like this, and let's move it a bit. Just like that, you know. Look, just making some tests to show you guys what we want in this case, right? And that's pretty good. I think I will go with this one. Yeah, it's almost a retopology flow, because here I'm undoing that region. The importance here is to have those circularities so you can make all of those wrinkles here, right? So I'm trying to find, let me show you. I'm trying to find those shapes. Let me make ellipses. You know, this kind of flowing, because this way we can easily separate. How can I go back to the pen? I think. Yeah. You know, these shapes, if we have some circularity, will be easier for us. And as I was saying, some lines for the nasolabial fold, some circularity for the mouth, the holes for nostrils, and yeah, that's it. So by comparing like this topology flow to the base mesh, we almost have like the same flowing, right? Maybe I could say, let me show you, Shift S to screen grab, and this one, let me show you how could I create some polygroups with the Z modeler brush. You can go Z modeler brush here, and with space, by pressing up on a face, you can go over the polygroup and polyloop, right? So you can make some polygroups here just to know what I'm looking for, like those. It's almost the same polygroups, you know. Here we can have some lot of spirals because it's not a real retopology, so it makes kind of those patterns. By pressing clicking and pressing Alt, we can change the color of polygroups that is being set by the software, right? But look, this kind of circularity that I was talking, maybe this also this nice flowing for the nasal labial fold, and on the rest the importance is more to have regular density, so we are better able to sculpt the details itself. And after, if we want, we can reproject this nice topology on the base mesh and the character we have to sculpt, right? So from here we can go and sculpt more, start to sculpt the likeness of our character. We can start to try to match Anthony Hopkins from this. It will be better than starting from a base mesh, because here it don't resemble anyone, any person. It's just a totally generic base without any information of someone, and from this we can go and start to match with our likeness. Okay, so let's get started. Okay guys, so let's start to try to match our character, in this case Anthony Hopkins, in that you know, that stage of life, like not so young, more an older version, right? And first, let me see, here we have the Dynamesh version, so I will delete. I will keep with this Zero Mesher version, and okay, they are just different Zero Mesh. I'm gonna use that other. Good. Okay. So let's see. The first thing that I always like to match first is when it comes to likeness. I like to match first the side view, the profile view. So let me first remove this bump here. I will use my clay build-up brush just to fills a little bit this space, and then with smooth, and we can left not press the shift key and release. Sorry, I was trying to remember the word. The word, it was release. We can press and then release the shift key, you know, and it gonna works as a relax tool. So you press shift, you click, and then you release the shift button and keep with the click there, and it will try to sustain the general volume, but smoothing the surface, smoothing the topology itself. Okay. So let's have a look on some of his side views. I didn't get too much. Maybe this one is not a side view. It will help us a lot, I think, because it's a 3/4 view. Maybe those others too, because they are closer to the reference that we're gonna want, like this one, right? So before we start to make that to make it match on this front view, let's first start by the profile. Okay, let me see. As profile, we have this one, this other one, and just this other here. All right, I don't know, but I'm not sure if this truly remember him. Let me check with the others. This one is closer to this expression we want. All of them are, this is with the closed mouth, and this one is almost smiling. So, but this one, you know, it looks more like fat than the others. But yeah, let's try. Let's first try to match maybe this angle or this one. So what I'm gonna look for when I'm going to make the face match in the profile view, certainly the silhouettes, right? The end of each feature in this case will be also a very nice starting point. And look how our character is totally weird here now. And so let's first start by position some things and closing the mouth itself, so this way it won't look that creepy. Here we can, with the transpose tool, select like the bottom part, or even go under this part here. Let me see. Okay. Oh shit. Because you can click here with Control press it, and then you can change it to mask lasso, right? And here in mask lasso you can mask like the bottom part of the mouth, and then you can start to drag it a little bit more. Here with the move brush, I do prefer always to use weaker intensity, so I like to low down to 15, 10, it depends. In this time 6, but can be a little bit more. And let's do the same for this one, just to close a little bit the mouth. And here with an inflate brush, I can inflate a little bit and then smooth it, right? And then we can start to position it, even without any kind of detail, any you know, any feature. We just have like this position here, and let's try let's start to match some parts. All right, here, just by looking the silhouettes. Okay, so what we can feel here is that this region is a little bit down there, and then we have a more pronounced forehead, maybe not that much. By first we're gonna use just our general perception. Oh, I lost the angle. So once again, try to match a little bit more the angle. You could even use like the same, so you can measure, you know, you put your reference just around, just besides your model. I like to use like maybe this size of for the head, so we won't be so distractful. We can focus more on the general volume, and will be better. So I'm not concerning too much, still not too much about the eyes, just position more the distance for the features. Normally with move brush, there is no such a secret. Just position it. And then look what I'm trying to match. Like, let me use the line. Once I try to position it, you can even measure, like put in some lines like this, but try to match the same size for the head. And then I grab kind of a line here and try to, you know, put in the same place. But first we have to match the eyes. Okay, so the eyes we can down a little bit more, make a bigger forehead, I guess, and then we can match those distance. Okay, I'm doing this everything by first or by my perception. Okay, so let me first position the eyes there, the center of the eyes, like in the same line right here, a little bit more, you know, like so. And then I can start to match some things. Here I'm adjusting some silhouettes. And let me try to position the mouth right in the same place as well. So always trying to match the same height for the feature I'm looking for. And then as we are kind of in the same angle, I can already start to match some features that I can see there, but not too much concerned yet on it, because first I like to match the general silhouette. All right. But here, before you can continue, I can down a little bit this here. I'm not seeing any reference there, but just by measuring the height, the actual height of the ear. So this way, we always gonna mix some basic knowledge in anatomy, because actually as I put down a little bit more this region of the forehead and the glabella, which is that part here in the middle between the eyes. As I move it down, I had to move also down the ears. It could be even like here, you know, because in kind of in the base of the nose. So yeah, I think now we can have a better treatment for this these eyes, because they are looking very creepy right now. So let's change it a little bit. First, let me bring a little bit less zygomatic and try to organize a little bit the flow for the axis. Okay, and here what are we gonna do? Firstly, let's have a look in our character by the front view, and let's see, once we have like the character having almost the same height for the head, always try to position the eyes in the same line, and then you check the rest of the features of the face. All right, so check if the mouth is in the same distance there. Just firstly adjusting all of the features, making a less pronounced zygomatic, and then let's start to bring more life into this eye region. Let's adjust a little bit the curvature for the nose. Always trying to look at the reference and trying to copy those lines. Look, like here I'm seeing this silhouette for the nose, and what I can see in mine is more like this, and I have to make more this kind of round tip. And so what can I do first? It's just a general looking, not truly still not the actual likeness and the form, but already given some detailing on it. Okay, and for the eyes, look, all this region, we're gonna fuse it up with some mass. Imagine that you are working in clay and you take a piece of mass and you're gonna put over this region there. Okay, so you're gonna fuse this hole. Imagine like here, it's like the zygomatic arch, right? Let me show you. Imagine like this is the zygomatic, like this blue region, and look how high is the nasal fossa and the base of zygomatic. And once we have this as a third. We're gonna have this line of the third in the base of zygomatic, the base of nose, right, and here the high of eyebrows. So we could have kind of like 3/3, 1, 2, 3, okay, and the zygomatic will be like this: 1, 2, and 3. All right, and all of this region here, look how is the position for the eyeball. It will be not in the base of this third, and not exactly in the middle of the orbicular fossa, which is this hole for the eyes. Will be just a little bit over, a little bit more like here, right? Because this part over here, this part here will be at this region. Sorry, the line should be more like this. In the zygomatic bone, we're gonna have this angle, and you can even feel, if you touch the side of your eyes, you can even feel like here in this region, this kind of thing here, right? You can touch the side here of your eyes. You know, if I had a camera, I could been able to show you, but try to feel this angle for your bones here in zygomatic, right? It looks kind of the Ray-Ban glasses, right? And this will be the zygomatic. All right. So if we had in the fossa, nasal fossa will be there. Like so, and here also the zygomatic. Look how different are one side to the other. Right, so let's have a look. Here it looks a little bit smaller than this side, so yeah, let's have a look first. But as I was saying, if we have the zygomatic under there, we're gonna need to put some mass in this region, right? In this region here. So let's do it. I'm gonna use the clay build-up brush. Let's clean our mask, and with clay build-up brush I will fill up this region with some masks, but still keeping those limits for the zygomatic. Okay, and then smooth a little bit. Then let's change a little bit this region for the eyes. And what we can start to do here is to make a mask into this topology, just by selecting some edge loops like so, and Ctrl and Alt key, you can click in the mask and make it sharper. So once you have a mask like 1, 2, 3 or more, some loops over here, I could even blur one time and then sharpen it again, and now you're gonna have 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can choose by depending on your topology there, but I'm gonna select like this and then invert my selection. So this way I can grab a little bit with move brush. Maybe I could leave more edge loops. So let's invert the mask, blur it one more time, and then sharpen it again with Ctrl and Alt click, and then I'm gonna invert my mask. You guys can see that I always press Alt plus E, and then I can invert my mask. This is a shortcut that I set, but you can set your own here by setting a hotkey for this button here over the masking palette, and this button inverse, you Ctrl and Alt click, and then you'll be able to set another hotkey that you want. By default is Ctrl I, but I think I is too far from my hand position, so I do prefer Alt E. Okay, so once you have this kind of mask, you with move brush you can pull more to the front this region, but being careful to not touch too much this part, because this will be like the zygomatic for that region. You can even use some clay build-up brush once again and add a little bit of volume over there and smoothing it sometimes. Still with that mask we created. So this way we can have that part of skin being over the eyelids. Okay, here I have to make a better transition and give it more volume. So here, still with the masking, I can use some inflate brush and then smooth it once again, changing with some move brush, and here I can down a little bit that region for the zygomatic. Look how I'm setting up my regions with the help of the topology we have, right? You can use this or even notice by the volume. Okay, giving a little bit more volume there. And yeah, let's work now into the eyelids. Okay, now let's move a little bit up the lower eyelids. Okay, and start to make some kind of caruncle. And caruncle is that corner here, because the actual shape for the eyes we're gonna look more in depth, but what we have is something like this. Okay, so the caruncle is this region over there. Here you can see that my nose is too big, so I'm positioning it more to the up region and starting to adjust the overall looking. As you're gonna see, I never like to stay too much time in the same place, so I kind of keep like traveling along my whole model, and I always tend to work with the model and far from my window. Here it looks kind of a camera without focal distance. It's impossible actually to have a camera without focal distance. Please don't care about it. I was saying that it's kind of a telephoto. It's with a lot of focal length, so it's almost isometric. We can say it's orthogonal view. So once we disable our perspective, we're gonna have an orthogonal view. Okay, we can even raise up a little bit the perspective by raising up the focal length over here in draw palette. By default, when you turn on your perspective, I use my I set a hotkey for the perspective here, right? But once you turn off or turn on, you can set a higher focal length. By default, I have here 100. I can set maybe 120 or 104 maybe. Here with a big size for the move brush, I'm gonna position it, and then I'm gonna try to match some features. Here for the head, I will move it a little bit on the silhouette and make it more a round shape. Here with standard brush, I can load the intensity and then bring in more volume on some parts. So trying to match some angles, some silhouettes, and traveling for all the character, just trying to match the overall looking. This would be a first general pass of modeling of our character. Just by looking to the silhouettes of the forms, trying to match the distance and proportions. Here with standard brush, I can start to bring some information for the mouth. Move it and then add in some volume under there, making the chin. I like to also lower a bit my Z intensity on the smooth brush, so it becomes less strong. And as I was saying, for the move brush, I like to use it lower also. I think all the brushes I do prefer to use them in a lower intensity. Here I have to make the mouth a little bit bigger, because I'm always trying to measure some parts, like from the end of some feature, like the end of nose. I grab a line, my perception will draw a vertical line and will try to find some points to measure its size. So comparing the size for the nose, I can compare the size for the mouth, right? So once I have the size for the nose set, I'm gonna check how much do I have for the size of mouth. All right, and I also like to set middle distance for those some parts. So here I have like the base of nostrils, and here I have the base of chin, where will be positioned the mouth itself. So if I have this distance, I could say that maybe the half of this high will be like here. So I can notice that the beginning of the mouth, it's just a little bit in the over the middle of this distance. Okay, so I'm always trying to measure those distance and trying to make it match in my my work. Once we have here the same distance for these two, right? This distance here, let me show you, and this distance here, right? So should be the same. So having the half size, what I'm gonna have in my reference, I have this size for the mouth, and then I can also measure it again from the medium part. I'm gonna have the quarters. So for the quarters, and then this way we start to kind of break up and map all of your reference. Okay, so I think it should be necessary for us to add some spheres for the eyes. And then also look how one thing that we can do is look how it makes kind of a pointy corner of the mouth. As I don't want it, I want the wrinkle more for the inside part of the mouth. I can use a damp standard brush, maybe low a little bit the intensity, and with a greater size. I always like to use them standard to building up the forms, not using just the smaller size like this, but a bigger size. So I can use this and make it just some little strokes in the corner, and then I can put the mouth more inside. All right. Look, as I'm trying to start to match a little bit this volume of the, this volume of the nasolabial fold, and I also try to read these lines. So right here. Okay. So I'm gonna set a custom view for recording this angle and this distance, this position for the camera, and then I have here on my interface use custom one transform. Once again, I can show you. Oh, damn! I move it when I was trying to make it smaller, the pure half. So once you move, you can go back here and draw, and go here into this button, undo. It's gonna undo the camera position. So undo there, and up, redo. Yeah, it's here. You can even press this button. When pressed, camera transformation will be locked. Yeah, look, is this button right here. Once you press, you can try to move and it won't move its position, but the problem here is that I changed my reference in place, so I'm gonna have to position it again. Let me first show you where I would create a block file for save my camera position angle. So go in draw palette, and then not draw palette, sorry, in documents and Zeppelin property. Oh, it's gonna save it. So go there in document, Zeppelin properties, and you can choose custom 1 or custom 2. I'm gonna click custom 1, and then it's set on this camera. Once again, I'm gonna have to match the actual height for those things. And then always doing that kind of measurements by comparing the features, the end of some parts, the beginning of others. And then all the time that I press this custom button, I'm gonna return to this angle, so I can disable there the camera lock and work again in other views. So you don't have to stay all the time the same view, because you're gonna be stuck and you have to compare other angles and make the needed changes. Here is moving the back of head and make it more realistic right now. Here can define a little bit more the end of his jaw. And also here trying to draw more his shape for the neck. Bring it this smaller for his chest. Then we can maybe start to work on other reference. Alright, so let's continue with our character. Here, let me adjust some silhouette for his forehead. Here we actually push it too much, and I think some techniques that I use, you know, to understand and to check some angles are quite like, if I have, once I have like I use it to also try to see the negative space on the silhouettes, right? So once you try to find the same angle like that, you know, when I'm trying to check the same angle, I use it to find those space over here, the silhouette, and how much space do I have, like from this to here, how much can I see on those regions here, right? And then after that I'm able to see more about the negative space. And once, if I have kind of a straight line like that, how would be the angle of this circumference there on this curve, how would be this curvature there, you know? So like this, I lock into an usual angle like that, and then I started to click. Notice those points, those red points of the cursor. Let me show you. It's impossible to make a mark because it will start the cursor. But yeah, you can see those red dots on my cursor. Then I'm used to use the move brush, and then be careful when you click on where you click precisely. If you click on there, you can see that my red dots are grabbing almost like the silhouette region of the model. All right, so I also used to say that the most intense part of move brush, or any brush, will work exactly on this first red circle in the middle. So in my case, because I'm pressing Ctrl Shift Plus, let me see if I could, yeah, I can make those marks without it. Maybe, let me see, yeah, maybe using this tool from Windows, we can see it. Here we have two circles, 1, 2, and 1 dot, right? Not only the move brush, but all the brushes that we use in ZBrush are most affected on this region of this middle circle, right? And the rest will be kind of a gradual attenuation for the brush intensity, right? So once if we look at of the brush effect, like in the profile view, if here we have this size of brush with this size of brush of middle circle, you know, this should be like this one, and this line should be like the middle one, and here we have the dot, right? So once we have this and we grab it, we push it forward for the top, what we would have, I would have like this curvature, right? Because this region will be the most affected. clearly the dot will be the most one, and then that region will be the most affected, and then this region will be the radial fade, is the focal shift that we say that we can adjust this distance, you know. But why am I saying about this? Because once I'm trying to adjust those circumference or those curvatures right in the silhouette, you know, it's not so good for me to use like a smaller brush and make those adapters, like just some little adapters. No, it's not so good because it turns to make more bumps on the surface and not on a very smooth surface. And as I want to keep this form but just make some adjust on the silhouette, I can grab it bigger, just like if I'm using this size of brush. If I'm using this size of brush, notice this will be the region, all this region that I will be able to move at once, you know. So I can grab all of this and make it smaller, the circumference, and then I'm gonna click again like here and make it smaller, you know. So I can make it, and notice how do I click on almost in the tangent of the form. When it comes to work with silhouettes, I always try to click more on the tangent part and leave it, not the brush here, but there, close to the silhouette where I'm working on. Alright? And always trying to break up in one specific angle, like that. Alright? Here I'm gonna use my clay build-up with less intensity and add some jaw. Notice how I go changing the model, all the model itself at once, and not staying focused only on one little part, right? One specific region. No, I like to keep my model all the time and, you know, make my progress, walk through the whole model, not only one specific part. So I travel my eyes like going through some regions, and then I can feel its volume, you know. But let me first explain you some volumes. How do I read those volumes in the reference? So let me show you. For example, in this reference, I always tend to look through the volumes of or the forms from the way I'm looking, if it was kind of primitives. So here, and I can feel that volume just by imagining this kind of forms, right? I know that in this region here, we are used to have those fat pads for the nasolabial fold. This is an anatomical information that I already know, and then I apply to see what to interpret what I'm looking on the reference, right? So I know it. I know that this could have some volume there, and I know that into this region I would have already the zygomatic. You must be able to find where exactly would be those anatomical structures, right? This is a really great exercise to do when it comes to studying anatomy, is to make these tracings over the reference, and then you can better understand what you are looking on the reference. So here I know that we have those jaw lines, right? And because of this, it's so important to study and have a solid knowledge on anatomy, because you know anatomy will be like the base for everything when it comes to recreate human models or even creatures on 3D world, right? And here once again to this side I will have some fat pad. This fat pad I could make like yellow, you know. And this that I did was the nasal fossa, the kind of that hole in the nose. Here are some planes of the head in 3/4 view, the superciliary arches. This region would be kind of the glabella region. Glabella is the middle part between the skull. And you know, all of this is so important to us to understand the actual structure for the head, the cranium. And when you are able to find and really understand where are those features in the reference, you better understand what features is playing which volume on that reference. So you start to better understand the shapes and also the forms, how it works on that that volume, on that region. How are the shapes, and better understand the volumes just by using the light reference, the light information that's provided on the reference. Okay, notice how we have those kind of volume, right? And then it's very useful practice to develop your own perception, is to make those kind of those studies on likeness, and also to use photo reference like this, and then trace those volumes. How can you imagine to trace those volumes? You can imagine just like a drop, a teardrop shape, just like this. And once it drops down, what will be the way that it would makes? When it fall down. All right. And when you look on those on this perspective, you start to better understand those shapes, you know, and understand better the volume, it's because of this it's so important to have a solid reference with some nice resolution, you know, because this way you start to look more this kind of volume of this understanding on the forms of your reference. Okay, but let's go back there and keep working on that pre-quarter view and trying to match some silhouettes first, because the silhouettes are formed by the primary shapes on the face, and primary shapes is what we are looking on for that kind of subdivision level. Okay, we are not looking too much more of this. So what I'm looking here, I'm trying to make it match on like in the same angle first. Okay, and then I'm filling some parts that are different because the model is not even close on the likeness yet, but I try to reach like almost all the time the silhouettes of each part. Like here you can see some silhouette, you know, and then I start to compare always by using that technique of reading the negative space, and how reading the negative space is to read the silhouette itself. So by looking on the nose, what we can say about it, that the nose is clearly out of likeness, out of silhouette here, and we could adjust like this shape, make it more round like that, maybe the nose a little bit forward. So we start to adjust those things, right? And because of this, I like too much to use the move brush with a less intensity, because I can make some tests on the go and start to make those adaptations on the forms that I'm looking. All right, here I changed it to clay build-up brush, and I started to put some volume there. And as always, I don't want to keep too much time on the same part, on the same region of the character. Because all the time it's good for us to keep our perception traveling along all the model and not keeping the same into the same region all the time. After we can say more about for the ears, the shapes, I'm just putting on maybe the same place, but also be careful about the size matching on the reference and the model. If you are used to use the pure half, you can even create another window, you know, by pressing the middle key in the mouse, or even clicking again here, and then you create another one, and then you can position it just to use kind of a rule, you know. This way you can replicate this, create some others, And with this always on top turned on, you can place like this, and then you can better match your reference with the model. All right. And then by hiding some parts, you are better able to read those negative space that we are looking for. Here I also like to use the move brush by using the Alt key pressed. Oh, I forgot to use that. I think it's this one. Key I press. Let me configure it for you. Yeah, there it is. So look, I also like to use the Alt key brush for the Alt key for the move brush, so it can pushes the form on its normal angle. Look, always pressing with Alt key, not only if I push it here, okay, here, okay, here, okay, but once if I pull the model from here, it will understand just these directions, like for there, and not exactly into the normal angle of the face. Like if I use it here, like so, but once if I click with Alt key, it's gonna push on, you know, in the angle of the normal, which is the, let me show you, like if we have a polygon here, its normal angle will be the exactly angle that is formed by 90 degrees on this face, on this polygon, right? So always on the 90 degree angle, this will be the normal angle, right? And when you use the move brush with Alt key pressed, we are able to use the move along the normal angle of the face that we are clicking, that we are pushing. Okay, so this is a very useful tip when it comes to making your character match. Like here, I cannot grab this region on that side of the chin, but I can click on this side here and use the Alt key pressed in order to make this part going more into that region there, like going through the side without changing my angle view here, you know. So this way I can make my chin thicker and trying to make it match. And also I can make those regions deeper or more pronounced just by looking on the reference and trying to replicate that silhouette. I think maybe we can start to open the mouth and make it closer to the looking that we are trying to copy on the reference. All right, and once again, try to never stay on the same place too much time. Always traveling along the model and not staying too much time on just one same place. Here, I think his forehead region goes more outward. Maybe not that much pronounced zygomatic. And here trying to match some features on the nose. And once again trying to find that same silhouette we have on the reference that we are using. Once again, I like to use them standard brush with not that intense, not that default intensity. And also the smooth brush, I think when we are working on those primary forms, it's too intense with 100, so I like to use less intense, maybe 50 or something like that. So notice how when I work here, I change a lot of time my draw size, and also I use the move brush by alternating the two kind of use, like without the Alt key pressed and with the Alt key pressed. All right. So all the time I keep with my middle finger and the S key, so I can change all the time the size of the brush and manipulate how much do I want to grab on the surface, on that region that I'm working on, and trying to read that on the reference. I think from here, as I said, we can start to open the mouth for him. I'm gonna clear the views and save it to the custom one. Custom one. Because I'm feeling that into this region on the circumference, on the silhouette of the back of head. It's good to have like not this, you know, this way. It is going to that direction only, and I would like to be more round. So for working on it, I have to smooth there on the back and make it less pronounced. Here we have to adjust once again the profile view, because clearly it's not on the right place. So notice how all the time we have to go again and match once again another view. And working on likeness is kind of all the time working on making the checks on each reference, on each angle, and going adjusting all the time, trying to match the same angle. And in order to match the same angle, the first thing that is nice to you to match is the eyes high. The eye is line like this, so I need to put it lower, and then I continue to adapting all the rest. So in order to make those adjusts, you can also create another window for per half, and you can make it match like this. Make it even thinner. And this way you can also better work on what you are seeing on the reference, what you need to work more. Standard brush with it's too much intense, so I lowered its intensity once again. Here I'm trying to fill that that volume over the anatomical structures. Once again, the anatomical structures that I already know and I'm mixing with I'm seeing on the reference. So I know that in the side corner of the mouth we're gonna have this region here that we call node, because it's a region that will have more volume on the face, on around the mouth. So this region here we're gonna have kind of bump it on there, right? A bean that will be separate from the mouth volume, general volume, right? We're gonna have kind of a cut on a diagonal over here, and this will be clearly the volume for the nasolabial fold, right? But as we can see here, we can clearly separate what we have as a zygomatic angle and what is the nasolabial fold. So notice how the light information is showing for us a lot of the volume of the forms that we have. Here we have something more squared, and this here is the zygomatic, and this is fat pad. So I have to try to recreate this. So this would be already kinda almost some secondary shapes, but still are still primary ones. I'm still looking on the silhouettes and also some individual parts on the model. And here the thing that is more out of likeness into this stage, I think, are the eyes and maybe also the nose, right? But let's do this quick save and then we can work it more. So always try to don't be too much attached to just one reference. The model should look on the likeness on every angle, and all the time try to make those those comparatives on the angles that you have on each form, and make it very subtle changes. All the time traveling along the model, and looking through the volumes and the shapes. And most of the time the light information will bring you the general looking for the volume of the form. Everything that I'm working is very subtle, but note how the overall shape of the silhouette is totally different from mine. Here I should have more like that, and the overall look, as I was saying, look how in mine is more inclined and here is not that much. Maybe I should have more this and this. So I think this should be more to the forward, to the front. But taking care to don't make the chin too much strong in this case.